Okane kaseko. Watashi wasta. Alright, let me make sure baby, we got some shit to talk about. Look, look. Y'all don't be judging me on here, y'all, because I know how y'all like to judge. Okay, I know how y'all YouTube girlies like to be in the comments. Oh my god, why you look like that? Bitch, I look good. Okay, don't worry about what I'm looking like. Let me go ahead and because we got some important information to just go over. So let me just go ahead and get these links where they need to be. Like I said, let me go ahead and get these links where they need to be. So I'm sharing them all across the network. Y'all, we got some shit. We got some shit going on, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you. Today gonna be a hot one. It might be a hot one today. This is gonna be a sensitive subject for many of us in this industry, simply because of the title, right? We need to just go ahead and have this conversation. Let me go ahead and share this. Hold up before I forget. Let me make sure. 2025 opportunities. All right. If you in here watching, go ahead and drop a comment in the chat. Please let me know where you are, where you're tuning in from, if you are a fellow creator, because this is going to require some of your conversation. I'm going to need you to talk to me. Today's title, as it suggests, Wishtender, Circle Pay, AVN, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But today we are talking about payment processors and payment processing issues in the financial domination community. So if you are watching this live for the first time, if you are new to my channel for the first time, welcome. Like I typically say in the beginning of all of my videos, my name is Goddess Ekua Ahima, and over the last several years as a financial dominatrix, I have not only been able to scale myself to 6 figures, but help over 5,000 and counting Black women and content creators do exactly the same in this industry specifically. Today I'm talking about, however, not so much coaching advice on how you can get started as a dominatrix and all of those other things. Right now I'm talking to my girls who are already in the field, who are already in the industry, and who've already experienced certain things. So if you're looking for information on how to get started in this industry, you're looking for opportunities to work with me, you can click the link in the bio and go to the appropriate information there. But this is not today's video, so don't ask me nothing about that. I'm coming to you guys today to talk about a particular issue as it relates to our community, our industry. As those of you know who have already been active in the financial domination world, we lose on an average platform after platform after platform. I mean, to be honest, there was OnlyFans. OnlyFans is still going, but you know, OnlyFans don't fuck with us no more. Publicly speaking, they don't fuck with us no more. They want people to think that there's girls on OnlyFans doing yoga videos when we really know the tea, right? And they're doing that for specific reasons. They're doing that for specific reasons. I'm gonna get into why all of these platforms keep failing us, but the heavy hitters that came and left, the first offense, Wishtender, right? Ain't nobody safe today. I know I told y'all I promoted. Well, I'm not going to say I necessarily promoted Wishtender because I feel like every time you guys would ask me about a payment platform or, oh, how do you feel about this or how do you feel about that? I always gave you my disclaimer. I always tell you guys to check the terms and conditions of all of these platforms. And I fucked with Wishtender, but I never promoted Wishtender. I never said, oh my God, they're going to be the end all be all, because I know that they were new, they were moving too fast, and they have fucking left and have abandoned multiple creators after making record-breaking fucking profits off of our work. Okay, so these platforms, Wishtender, AVN, Circle Pay, The Norm, all of these platforms that have come and gone in our industry have made record profits off of us, off of our labor, off of our work, and have now abandoned us. These platforms no longer exist. You can no longer connect or collect tributes or tips or donations through these platforms. And again, like I said, with Wishtender charging, let's say for example, Wishtender charging your customer 10% in addition to the funds that they were about to send you, you know what I'm saying? They were making record breaking profits off of content creators, off of dominatrices, right? With tributes of $100,000 getting an additional charge of $10,000, right? So for every $100,000 you earned as a dominatrix through a platform that used to exist that fucked us over and dipped after they got their money from us, like Wishtender, right? Every time you made $100,000 on Wishtender, they made $10,000. And you can imagine in the small fucking time frame that they existed, how much money they racked up in pure profits off of your efforts and labor. Because it's your efforts and labor as the dominatrix, as the content creator, that's bringing your subs to the platform to spend $100,000. Now, the good thing about Wishtender is based on the way that they promoted it and the payment processor merchant that they had, Stripe, you could make $100,000 off of Wishtender. But again, for the benefit of the company, they were charging that 10%. So out of that $100,000 you would have gotten from Wishtender, you would have, with other platforms like NightFlirt, for example, you would have contributed at least 30% of that to that platform. Now, Wishtender was a little bit different because they were only offering a payment processor kind of service. They weren't offering telephone other like services and content creation and subscription platforms or subscriptions like OnlyFans does or Loyal Fans does or AVN does, so that from a business perspective, they are not as high of a risk or a high risk merchant like Loyal Fans or NightFlirt or AVN or OnlyFans would be, right? These are considered for tax code purposes. These are considered for payment processing purposes. These businesses that we operate on, this industry that we operate in, is a high risk industry, meaning we're selling content, sexually explicit content, pornography. All of those things are high risk because they are susceptible to, or more frequently susceptible to, friendly chargeback or friendly fraud. Meaning the sub sent you $1,000 and it was legitimate, but he went and told his bank that it was not. And friendly fraud means the bank is on his side just because of the fact that this is a high risk industry, not doing any type of checks and balances to really assure that the sub actually legitimately sent you the money, which he did. They just automatically take the sub side at the bank, not at the NightFlirt level, right? Because NightFlirt would be able to prove that the charge was valid. OnlyFans would be able to prove that the charge was valid. They don't go to the OnlyFans. They don't go to NightFlirt. They don't go to Wishtender. They go to their bank. They go to Wells Fargo. They go to Chase. They go to the actual bank. And they say, oh, no, this was fraud. The bank does not do any checks to check with NightFlirt, to check with OnlyFans to see if it was actually fucking fraud. They just say, oh, okay, this was a high-risk industry. Yeah, that's most likely fucking fraud. And they give your sub their fucking money back. And that's what's called friendly fraud in our industry. But it is possible, it is very possible for these banks to come and check with the platforms and confirm that it was actually a legitimate charge or not, but they don't give a fuck to do so. They just don't. They just say, oh, it's a high risk business. It must not have been, you know, they don't do the checks and balances to really confirm. So these payment processing platforms are making so much money off of us with straight taxes and fees alone, right? Taxes and fees alone. These girls was getting houses bought, you know, based off of money that they were racking up on Wishtender. People were getting their student loans paid off based off of money that they were racking up on Wishtender. And that's good for the Dom, yes, but it's not good for our community in the long run because, one, that platform no longer exists, and the 10% additional charges that the sub was paying did not go to your pocket at all. It went to the pockets of the people who owned Wishtender. And now that Wishtender is kaput because they chose the most shakiest fucking payment processor ever, like Stripe, they have said, oh well, Stripe doesn't fuck with us anymore. We're not going to do the necessary research to find another payment processor who has been legitimately in this industry for a while and can work with us as a high risk merchant. We're just going to drop the ball on the community, say, fuck y'all. We got our 10% for how many years or how many months we was rocking out, and we're good. And now the owner of Wishtender, who pretended to be a sex worker, who was never a sex worker, is somewhere sitting on tens of $1,000s of your fucking labor. And she cool. Here's the thing. The reason why Wishtender became so popular is because, one, the creator said that she was a sex worker or a former sex worker, and she wasn't. And then two, it became very popular because they marketed it to creators like, hey, you can finally now collect tributes and donations, and we are not going to take from your pockets. We're going to charge the customer that additional fee, right? So instead of Night Flirt giving you on a very basic $25 tip, chump change, you know what I'm saying? Not even enough money to put in your fucking gas tank. For the chump change tribute at bare minimum of $25 on a platform like Night Flirt, which has been one of the longest standing high risk merchants when it comes to phone sex services, content creation, etc. They do some kind of pay-per-view content and stuff like that, but Night Flirt is not known for that. They're not. They're known for phone sex. But let's say, for example, if you were using Night Flirt to collect your payments, they would take 30% of anything that you fucking get. So a bare minimum ass tribute of $25, you can't even put that in your fucking gas tank and get across the fuck town. After they take that 30%, you're left with $17, which again, still not enough to now you went from $25 not being able to even put that in your gas tank and last that shit all week. Now you're down to $17, which means you barely making enough to even buy some fucking McDonald's. They've done nothing to promote you. That 30% is never going to come back. That 30% doesn't go to them promoting you on their website. That 30% does not go to them improving the quality of their website or the user interface of that website. That 30% does not go to promoting you on their social media account in any way, shape, or form. It's gone. So Wishtender became very popular because the industry is used to platforms moving like Night Flirt. Taking a cut, you can't do shit about the cut. It is what it is. Done. Right? Now, whereas though Night Flirt was a little bit more secure, yes, they taking 30%, but I've never experienced chargebacks on Night Flirt. Yes, they're taking 30%, but I always get paid on time. So it's like, there is a trade-off. Yeah, you taking 30% of my money and you really not doing shit for me, but I never have had any issues with Night Flirt cutting my motherfucking check or that shit hitting my direct deposit on time. So I'll give them that. But does it mean that that 30% is fair? Maybe or maybe not. So that's where Wishtender came in, and they became really, really popular with saying, we are not going to take it from your pockets. We're going to take it from them. So it was like, all right, you get $25 on Wishtender. The sub will pay like $35. You get $25. The sub paid $35. The rest of that money goes to Wishtender for facilitating the transaction because they are supposed to be a high risk merchant. Now, here's where Wishtender fucked us up. They chose, out of all of the payment processors in the world that they could have possibly chose in such a high risk industry, they chose Stripe. Now, if you don't know, because you ain't been in this industry long enough, Stripe and the people who own Stripe, just because it's a name, don't mean the LLC ain't the, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand it from a business perspective. Businesses have names. Wishtender is the name. What you really need to pay attention to is the LLC or the incorporation that these companies are owned under or operating under, because that's what's making the difference. Stripe is the same people as fucking PayPal. PayPal ain't never been a high-risk merchant for the fucking adult industry. PayPal ain't never fucked with us. So you think the same people as PayPal are suddenly going to fuck with us as high-risk merchants in a high-risk industry when just because they now have a new name, Stripe? No. So where Wishtender fucked us over is they worked with Stripe. Now, Stripe is a high-risk merchant, but not a high-risk merchant for adults. Not a high-risk merchant for the adult industry. Stripe works with high-risk merchants like e-commerce retailers. So if you selling t-shirts and socks and stickers, you high risk already, right? Let alone let's talking about phone sex and pornography and a monthly subscription platform. Stripe already considers you to be a high risk as a merchant if you selling t-shirts, stickers, and tennis shoes. It was never meant for us. If you're selling things more than $100 fucking dollars, if you have a product or a service that's more than $100 fucking dollars, you're a high risk in the eyes of Stripe and most of the very basic payment processors as far as a merchant or seller goes. $100 in financial domination is fucking change. $100 in our community is the new $5 bill. So on top of us being in an adult industry, on top of us having services or products that cost more than $100, you know what I'm saying? We are 100% high risk. One of the reasons why these platforms don't last is because these people are being fraudulent, right? So one of the rules of Wishtender was we can use Stripe, and this is how they fucked themselves up. We can use Stripe, and you guys can collect tributes if you don't say anything sexually explicit in your comments. So you can't say on your Wishtender platform, this $1,000 gift that you're sending me is for tribute. You couldn't use the word tribute. You couldn't use the word, you couldn't use anything like that was sexually explicit, right? You couldn't say like, for a foot fetish, like send me $250 for my pedicure because you're a foot fetish freak. You couldn't say stuff like that. The subs couldn't say anything too. You know, when they sent you a message or sent you a note, they couldn't say from sub or from slave X or your loyal pet, your loyal puppy, because those are words that would indicate to Stripe as they are trying to process said payment in the eyes of Discover and MasterCard. And that's where they would blame it on. They would blame it on Discover and MasterCard. Oh, well, Discover and MasterCard don't like this and that and the third. No. Wishtender tried to get away with, the reality is, and this is the tea that they're never going to fucking tell you. And I'm telling you now that the platform is kaput and they've already fucked us over and made all of this money off of us. Wishtender was trying to get away with violating the terms and conditions of Stripe's platform and MasterCard and Visa cards terms and conditions. They were trying to fly under the radar because more than likely they did not want to pay the necessary fees to Discover and MasterCard and Visa to be legitimately considered a high risk merchant. This shit is expensive and this shit runs deep. It's all about capitalism and it's all at the end of the day making a fucking buck off of the people who are in this industry, making this industry what it is. Black women and black creators. Right? Because we the ones, Wishtender's not doing the work of getting the sub and convincing the sub to send you thousands of dollars. You are. They're just profiting off of your labor by saying, we'll facilitate that transaction for ya. We'll help you facilitate that transaction for ya. If you give us a piece of the pie, right, you're the one doing all the work. So this is where they fucked themselves over. Wishtender was trying to fly under the radar of high-risk merchants, meaning don't say nothing about sex work, don't say anything that seems closely aligned to fetish, don't say anything about exchanging services, don't say anything about this, that, and that, and that. They wanted to make sure that you were shut up and on the hush-hush, and so was your sub, so that they could just move money back and forth. And why were they doing that? One, Stripe strictly prohibits anything related to adult services, phone sex, subscriptions, text messages, fucking panty sales, any and everything that we do in this industry. You cannot, literally, there's no way around it. You cannot do on Stripe unless you have written permission from Stripe and You are paying the necessary fees as a high-risk merchant to Discover and MasterCard and Visa, which as of April of 2025 is a fee of at minimum $950 fucking dollars a year, which means you need to come out of your pocket and pay the payment processor Discover and Visa a $950 annual fucking fee out of pocket to register as a high-risk merchant before you facilitate any transactions. And you still, even after paying that $950, cannot do it on Stripe, because Stripe is affiliated with PayPal and affiliated with Venmo. And Stripe, PayPal, and Venmo are all the same fucking person. They're all the same fucking company. It's just 3 different names. See where I'm going with this? It was never made for you. So that's where they fucked themselves up, trying to get us to fly under the radar, because they wanted to fly under the radar so that they could get a piece of the pot. Now, somebody asked in the comments, was Wishtender better than UPay? I think that Wishtender, from a user interface, the way it looked, was better than UPay. I do not promote UPay either. And the reason that I don't promote UPay, but I now have a UPay account, is because, like I said, I always do research on any and everything that I do for you guys prior to me saying it. I'm not getting paid to say shit about Wishtender. Wishtender don't give a fuck about me. Because if Wishtender heard what the fuck I was saying to them or about them, baby. But your company doesn't exist anymore. And your company doesn't exist anymore because you was trying to fly under the radar. You were trying to violate the terms and conditions of Stripe's policies. And more than likely, you did not want to pay the high-risk merchant fees associated with Discover and MasterCard. So instead of, I don't know, taking all of the 10% fucking additional fees that you earned off of fucking creators to pay those fees, you didn't want to do that. And you said, fuck us, after making record profits, and you left. If you don't like the way it fucking feels, oh well. But that's what you did. I don't fuck with UPay either, because UPay also uses Stripe. So although UPay is very new, it's more than likely, because they are using Stripe and a couple of other payment processors like CoinFlow and some other things, they are more than likely going to have the same thing happen to them. Stripe will find out that they are trying to fly under the radar of the terms and conditions, and the more your subs just so happen to put notes on your profile after they send you a gift like "from slave this," or "I worship your feet," or "thank you goddess," thinking that they're doing harmless things, they know what they're doing. Stripe's gonna find out that UPay is violating the terms and conditions. They're going to tell the owners of UPay that they need to fix that shit, or if they don't, if they don't just straight up cut UPay off and say, no, you can't use us no more, altogether, you violated the terms and conditions, we're not giving you a chance to do shit, they're either going to cut UPay the fuck off, and then you guys will only have to use CoinFlow or whatever else payment processors that they're using, or they will demand that the owners of UPay pay the $950 plus annual merchant fee in order to continue as a high-risk merchant. And the owners of UPay are going to have to decide whether they want to sacrifice their profits or sacrifice you. And trust and believe, baby, they going to sacrifice you. And just say, fuck y'all. Oh, well, we helped. We let you use the service while you could. Oh, well. Right? So, yeah. Welcome, Enchantress. Sheba, welcome to the AfroDomme Elite VIP. So that's just how it is. UPay will definitely do the same, and I know that UPay will definitely do the same, not because I'm being pessimistic, but because UPay is using Stripe. And Stripe has never been made for us. 1000%. There's nothing that you can do in the adult entertainment industry that Stripe will allow you to fucking do based on their terms and conditions. Even if you pay that $950 high-risk merchant fee, there's nothing that you can do as a high-risk merchant in the adult industry that Stripe will fuck with. Stripe wants you to pay the $950 high-risk merchant fee so that you can sell t-shirts and fucking stickers. They're not for us. They're never going to be for us. Does that mean that there are not platforms for sex workers? Does that mean that there aren't high-risk merchant platforms that do allow adult services? Yes, there are. There are plenty of them. Unfortunately, though, it seems like these platforms don't give a fuck about finding those platforms or paying those platforms. Because one, those legitimate high-risk merchants who have been working with people in the sex industry for umpteenth years, 20, 30, 40 years, they will charge more than Stripe, of course. You got to pay to play, right? Ain't that what we say to our customers? You got to pay to play. They have to pay to play too. And the reality is these platforms are not built by sex workers. They are not built with adult entertainers in mind. So they don't actually fucking care about doing right by us. They care about tapping in to a billion-dollar industry and collecting as much as they fucking can off of our backs. That's what they really care about. AVN did the same thing and fucked us over and left. Wishtender did the same thing, and it's only a matter of time before UPay does the same. Circle Pay did the same as well. Cash App, Google Wallet, Google Pay, Venmo, PayPal, all of these platforms. It costs a certain amount to do what we do. And it doesn't mean that you cannot do it, but you have to do it with a certain level of ethics. And the ethics that they are following are the ethics of lining their own fucking pockets, not the ethics of providing credible, safe, legit, chargeback protected payment processors to you as a creator or secure payments to the fucking customer. They make as much money off of us as they can, and they dip scot-free. Y'all don't fucking uprise. Y'all don't fucking rebel. Y'all don't fucking call them out on social media. You just move on to the next fucking person. You let that fucking company get the fuck away with robbing us. Y'all let Wishtender get the fuck away with robbing us. And now they gone. Nobody gives a shit. Ain't nobody in no uprise. Ain't nobody mad. $100,000 tribute and the sub pays an additional $10,000. I promise you it don't cost $10,000 to facilitate that transaction. I'm talking I'm talking good profits off of the backs of content creators. Because I promise you, Night Flirt, it don't cost 30% of it don't cost $7.50 for you to facilitate the transaction of a nigga giving me $25. It don't cost $7.50. I promise you it don't. It's about profit. Now, it's not to say that profit is bad, because a business is a business. You know, you got website hosting that you need to pay for. You got employees that you need to pay for. You got website domain that you got to pay for. It's a lot of shit that goes into operating this business, but it don't cost that much. It don't cost as much as they want you as the creator, right? If you don't have the entrepreneurial mindset like most do, or maybe I do, to try to think about like what is it truly costing these platforms to do the things that they're doing for us, it don't cost that much. No, it don't. I promise you it don't. But there is still a charge. Like I said, there is still a charge that would be associated because there is legitimate charges that go into it. Website hosting and all of those other things. That is important in order for them to do what they do, in order for you to have a profile on Night Flirt, in order for you to have a telephone number, in order for you to have an extension, in order for you to be able to go in there, log in, see how much money you earn, see what your customers are. All of that, for the ability for you to do that in itself costs money, whether you're making money on that platform that day or not. That is true. But does it cost 30% of your earnings? No. Not 30%. And that's some of the issues that we continue to run into in this industry. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this today, just to really expose, again, like I always do, exposing this industry for what it is. Because it's about time that we've gone into making the necessary changes to do what we need to do, right? It's not about this cliche like surface level financial domination. Like I always told you, and like I told you at the beginning of the year, we are moving forward to talking about higher level conversations. There's no reason why we should not have a black owned, sex worker operated payment platform already in this industry using the legitimate payment processors for a high risk industry. And the reason that we don't is because one, people are focused on lining their own fucking pockets. And then two, black women and black doms and black creators have not spent enough time having the right kinds of fucking conversations. So instead of talking about how to create institutions and platforms for ourselves, y'all worried about, oh, this bitch copied my fucking tweet and retweeted it. This bitch poached my sub that really wasn't my sub because I only knew the nigga for 2 days. He gave me $200. Y'all worried about the wrong shit. So as I said in that last video that I made, my last live conversation, we are currently looking for a handful. We are currently looking for a handful of DOMs who have already been in the game, already been in the industry. It doesn't matter if you've been doing this for a few months or for a few years, but we are currently looking for some feedback from y'all. I know it's over 5,000 of y'all in the AfroDomme Network alone. I can only get to y'all, at once, but so quick. We looking for some feedback from y'all. So, in the link in my bio, the link is right here in the description box as well. bio.site/thekinkycoach. Go down to the bottom listing. It's talking about joining the 2025 VIP wait list. I need some information. We need some information from fellow creators. Right? Are you currently accepting digital payments, tips, or tributes as a Dom? Yes or no? Where are you currently collecting these payments? Is it on OnlyFans? Was it Wishtender? Was it Throne? Cash App? Where are you collecting payments? Have you ever received a customer chargeback, friendly fraud, or the complete loss of a payment processor with or without receiving the funds that you were owed? And again, the definition of friendly fraud is a sub legitimately purchasing services or a product from you and then reporting to his bank that it was a fraudulent charge, that it actually was not, and the bank just simply takes their side and issues a refund because of the fact that the charge came from a high-risk merchant. But it was a legitimate charge because you did exchange the service, you did have a conversation, right? You know for a fucking fact that you talked to this fucking sub and he says you sent you some money and he did XYZ. And now all of a sudden, the payment processor that you're using is saying like, oh, there was a chargeback. Oh, the card didn't go through. Oh, the payment didn't go through. Now your account is in the negative. Now your account is shut down, etc. One of the other questions again was what platform was responsible for closing your account, withholding the charge due to friendly fraud, suspicious activity, etc. How much was the reported chargeback or reported loss for you? How frequently do you receive tributes, tips, and donations specifically? This is not asking about like, subscription accounts or pay-per-view content. How often do you on a monthly basis receive tips, tributes, donations specifically? What is the US dollar amount of those things? And if you have experienced the loss of a preferred payment method, how has that impacted your business? I know so many DOMs who are very new, and I used to talk about it really all of the time. But I know so many of our students who have lost payment platforms like Cash Apps and PayPal accounts over and over and over again for years, simply because they weren't, they kept getting caught up with violating terms and conditions. They kept getting caught up with friendly fraud. They kept getting caught up with chargebacks and all of those things. And that does have an impact on your operations and your success in this industry. It does, especially when you are a new Dom and you have thousands and thousands and thousands, or you think that you have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in a PayPal account, and you get hit up with violating the terms and conditions because you legitimately did as a sex worker. Your sub was put in notes about buying stuff for your feed or worshiping your feed and all of those things that gave it away. and you're using a personal account instead of a business account. There's like so many things that go into it, but basically I know so many students who have had thousands of dollars in an account and the account is gone, the money's gone, you're not getting the money, there's no way for you to legally recoup the money, even if you had a lawyer, because again, you're violating the terms and conditions of the service, period, point blank. And they won't go into, oh, well, this was a legal form of sex work or this was an illegal form of sex work. No, they're going to see it as high risk. They're going to see it as sex work in any way, shape, or form and accuse you of being a prostitute, right? They're going to accuse you of literally the only illegal fucking part of sex work, being a prostitute. And you're not. Being a dominatrix is not an illegal form of sex work. Being a phone sex operator is not an illegal form of sex work. Being a porn star is not an illegal form of sex work. But they're not going to ask those questions. They're going to just close your account and keep your money. Period. One of the other questions is how much of your earned income is harvested by payment processing platforms where you sell your services, content, and subscriptions. So like I said, how much of your earning income is harvested. So out of the money that you receive, let's say, for example, Night Flirt takes 30% of your earnings off the top. We already know. That's like industry standard that these platforms take 10, 20, 30, sometimes even 40% of your earnings. So how much of your earned income is harvested by these payment platforms? And then in that same instance, how often do these same platforms that you sell your services, your subscriptions, and collect payments through, how often do these same platforms that are harvesting part of your income, how often do they promote you on their websites, on their blogs, or on their social media to help you boost sales, to help you boost visibility? Are they doing that for free, or do you have to pay them to do that? If you are paying them to do that, how much of your additional earnings are you now spending from your profits or from your profits or out of pocket, right? So like I said, if you make a very bare minimum, for example, if you get a very bare bones chump change tip like $25 on Night Flirt, Night Flirt's going to take 30%. You're going to be left with about $17 and some change. Out of that now $17 and some change, how much are you now spending of that 17 to now promote yourself or market yourself or boost yourself, despite already giving 30% of their income, that $7.50 that they would have taken, to now promote yourself? Right? So now out of the $17 that you made from this $25 tip, are you now spending $10 of that 17 to now promote yourself so that you can get another sale? Or are now you coming out of your pocket somewhere else on a personal account or personal finances to now continue boosting yourself because you only got a fucking $17 fucking tip today, and now you need to pay $10, $25 for the next hour or the next several hours to promote yourself to the top of Night Flirt's website so that you can try to get more money? How much are you spending to do that? And again, what other issues outside of what we've already discussed, what other issues are you facing with your payment processor? So this information right here, this survey right here, like I said, this information, this survey right here is in the link in my bio, bio.site/thekinkycoach. It is the last bottom option, the AfroDomme 2025 waitlist. For all of you, I don't know why you're struggling so much to find my information. Any of my other links are there. If you can't find it on there, it's because I don't want you to have it. So stop asking me. Okay. But that's the kind of information that we need right now from you guys in the community. And the reality is, like I said, it is very possible for these platforms to do better. It was possible for Wishtender to do better. It is possible for UPay to do better. It is possible for AVN to have done better. The reality is they didn't because they didn't want to. And how long are you, knowing that, going to allow these platforms to come into our community, infiltrate our spaces, and profit off of your labor? Because that's what they're doing. How long are you going to allow that to happen? We have to start asking better quality questions to these people. I remember when Wishtender was in beta mode and they were spending a lot of time on the internet talking to people. Nice little white girl walking around talking to people on the internet. Everybody was dick riding. Because again, the idea of not having to pay a fee and having the customer pay a fee is definitely attractive. But we got sold the wrong thing. Okay? I need you to know that. We did. It didn't benefit us in the long run. It benefited them. Because now they have our money and they no longer exist to help us. So did they really help us? Fuck no. UPay will do the exact same thing when Stripe finds out that they are violating the terms and conditions. So my question to you is, are you guys as a community now willing to say, yeah, we definitely need to put a greater emphasis on creating these institutions for ourselves? And are you willing to invest the time or the money to make it happen? Because it's going to cost one or the other. Right? Sit with that. Settle in on that. Click the link in the bio. Take the survey. Fill it out 100%. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. But we're going to have to do something else. Because the next time I come back, y'all going to be screaming and hollering about UPay fucking crashing, UPay not working no more. When I already told you that they were never meant for us. And it was bound to happen because they are using one of the most popular platforms that is never, ever, 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 and will never, ever, ever, ever fuck with us. Play around if you want. You're going